Hi people, Marino Ravenberg here again, as always, of course. There is something relating to astrology that I'm still going to mention here, something that is generally speaking or in general overlooked, and that is the kind of in one's natal chart, so the constellation, the planetary constellation under which you were born. People often overlook their personality in terms of cardinality, fixity, and adaptability or mutativeness. Long story short, okay, this is my birth chart, by the way, of course, as most of you that have, assuming that you've watched the rest of the playlist that you're more than familiar with. Okay. There are types of houses and zodiac signs, of course, and zodiac signs rule houses, so better said the other way around. There are zodiac types of zodiac signs and houses. You've got cardinal zodiac signs first, and these zodiac signs are strong upstarters. You've got fixed zodiac signs in their corresponding houses. These are people that are very fixed, or people that have a strong fixity or a strong fixed influence, or people that are heavily fixed in their ways. They're fixed in their fixed personality wise. They're very stable. And last but not least, you have mutative zodiac signs in their corresponding houses and their corresponding houses. And these people that have a strong mutative character or personality, or people that were born under a significant under a constellation with a strong mutative influence, are people that are very adaptable to situations. I'm going to show you in the reports. This is what you can focus on. Don't focus on anything else, just on this sign modalities. As you can see here for yourself, cardinal, fixed, you can ignore the rest, sign elements and house modalities. Just focus on this, the sign modalities. Cardinal, fixed, for now at least. Cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Not mutative, sorry, I misspoke. I mean mutable. Cardinal simply means a strong upstarter. As you can see, the majority weight score is 15. I have 4 planets, the moon, the sun, Mercury, Neptune, and not to mention the other notable influential points, constellary points or astrological points, such as the ascendant, the midheaven, the part of fortune, etc. Okay, you can ignore the last two. Those are just the nadir and the descendant. They align with the ascendant and midheaven in this context. So yeah, don't worry about that. All of this, what does all of this mean? Okay, if you just close this, I'm going to show you guys. Okay, the moon was in Aries when I was born. The sun was in Libra when I was born. Midheaven is in Libra. Capricorn is in Libra, etc., etc., etc. You can definitely go over it. Okay, these are the zodiac signs that these planets are in or points are in, such as the ascendant and the midheaven. These are cardinal zodiac signs. Cardinal zodiac signs are signs that if a person is born under that influence, that person will be a good upstarter. This is something that I'm well aware of in my own regarding my own character or personality. By upstarter, I mean these people get things off the ground. They get projects going ridiculously quick, fast, and efficient. My chart gives away that I'm an upstarter. I have a strong cardinal personality. Okay, it outclasses out the fixity and the mutativeness, the mutableness, whatever, by far, which is normal. Okay, the cardinal signs, zodiac signs, are Aries, so and the first house, therefore the first house, Cancer and the fourth house, Libra and the seventh house, and Capricorn and the 10th house. Those are the zodiac signs and the houses that they rule over. As you can see for yourself, I have a planet in the first house, part of fortune in the 7th house, midheaven is in a cardinal sign, ascendant's also in a cardinal sign. For the rest, I have the moon in a cardinal sign, the sun in a cardinal sign, Mercury in a cardinal sign. You can see that pretty much Neptune in a cardinal sign. The entire chart, the majority of the chart, at least a good 60 to 70%, okay, consists of a cardinal influence. Like I said, that simply means that I'm a good upstarter because I have a personality that makes it so that I'm good at getting projects off the ground. If I, by example or for example, needed to build a company, literally just a startup company out of nothing, I would literally do everything in such a ridiculous way, ridiculously quick and swift and efficient way that it would be like clockwork. That's what cardinality means in this context, a cardinal personality. It's an initiative taker, someone that has leadership capability and or capacities and related. And yeah, now let's move on to the second point. The second point, okay, as you can see, this is what I lack the most: fixation, okay, fixity. I only have Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, and the dark moon Lilith or the black moon Lilith in fixed signs. The fixed signs are signs that are stable. Okay, people born under fixed signs and that have the strongest fixed, a strong fixed influence are people that are very stable. As in, these people, their momentum never falters. They're stable. They never lose ground in their lives. They never, personality-wise, they never become unstable or anything like that. They remain strong and consistent and fixed in their ways. Simply put. The fixed signs are Taurus and the second house, Leo and the fifth house, Scorpio and the eighth house, and Aquarius and the 11th house. And as you can see for yourself, I have nothing in the second house, I have nothing in the fifth house with the exception of Chiron, which is going retrograde. Uh, I have, I'm sorry, I want to double check to make sure that I didn't misspoke. Oh, no, okay. That I didn't misspeak. Sorry, that I didn't misspeak. No, I did not. Okay. Yeah. I have Mars and Venus in the eighth house, and I have Uranus and Uranus and Saturn in the 11th house. So I only have like 4 planets in the 11th house, and even then, the signs that they're in are not fixed signs. So yeah, it's a mishmash. Okay, so house related, nothing noteworthy in any case. When it comes to the planets, okay, like I said, fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. I have Jupiter in Aquarius. I have Saturn in Scorpio. I have nothing in Leo, and I have nothing in Taurus. Pretty much only the black moon in Taurus. That's what the report said. Okay, I have Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and the black moon. And as you can see, the weight score is 3 because they all if they were it would weigh heavier if these planets that were in fixed zodiac signs were also in their corresponding houses, but they're not. Okay, that would basically add more weight to everything, to the entire chart. But that's not the case, as you can see or as you can tell. So yeah, so the thing that I lack most in my personality is stability, fixationness by nature, fixedness, whatever you want to call it. And that is true. That is something that I struggled with, metaphorically speaking, in some aspects, literally, up until recent. Let's just say for this year 2020, at the time of this recording, I've already attained stability. I fixed that part of my personality through the occult or via the occult. I'm very happy to say. And I am stable now, as in I am fixed. Aside from being naturally cardinal, I am also fixed. So I've improved my character. I'm like Marino Ravenberg, not 2.0, I'm like 3 or 4.0 with all the changes that I've undergone. But my point is, naturally speaking, naturally born, what I lack the most is fixity, and I know that. I'm well aware of that. That is something that I have been coping with my entire life. Being stable, keeping things going. Okay, that's the problem that I have in my life. I'm always capable of starting things up tremendously well. Okay, getting projects off the ground, no issue. But to keep those projects going, to remain, to maintain momentum is definitely my biggest weak point or drawback, something that I despise, metaphorically despise within myself. But yeah. In any case, moving on to the last, the mutable signs. I have Venus, Mars, and Uranus and Chiron in the mutable signs, okay, with a weight score of 5. The mutable houses are the third house with its ruler Gemini, the sixth house with its ruler Virgo, the ninth house with its ruler Sagittarius, and the 12th house with its ruler Pisces. And yeah, I have Mars and Venus in Virgo. I have Chiron in Gemini, and what else was present? I have Uranus in Sagittarius. Yeah, that's all. Also, not a lot, okay? And what this in essence means is that I am moderately adaptable. I do have in the fixed houses, I have the moon here, but the moon is in a cardinal sign. Nothing in the sixth house. In the ninth house, I have the sun and Mercury, but they're in cardinal signs, and in the 12th house only Neptune. So it doesn't really count, not in that context, solely from a zodiac sign perspective. That's why it weighs so low. In any case, like I said, what this means in essence, I only have Uranus, Mars, Venus, and like I said, Chiron in mutable signs. What that means, converted into this astrological context, is simply that I'm also not very adaptable. I have difficulty adapting to my surroundings and existing situation, and it will usually adaptability and adjusting oneself takes a little bit of time, and it happens. It doesn't go by unscathed, or I do not go by unscathed. As in, I learned the hard way, through trial and error, somewhat in my quest for adaptability. All of which is also true. Also know that about myself, obviously. So yeah, there you go. That is how to distinguish cardinal signs, fixed signs, and mutable signs. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, while I'm at it, I'm also going to deal with the rest, but I'm not going to delve into detail because it's not necessary. Majority of people that are watching this are well aware and or familiar with, I'm assuming, I'm practically sure of, the elements or elemental signs. We all know that by default, okay. The fire signs are Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. The air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. The water signs are Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. And last but not least, the earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Those are the elements, okay? The first one deals with fire, okay? The one representing Aries and company deals with fire. They're the fire signs. Cancer and company, water signs. Taurus and company, earth signs. And Gemini and company, air signs. So yeah, that's how it works. And as you can see here, pretty much the sign elements in one's astrological chart, they basically calculate it for you. The software calculates everything for you and shows you what my strongest influence is based on planets, based on the zodiac signs that the planets are in and related. You can see for yourself, it's relatively balanced with the exception of water. I lack water the most. Earth and air signs are what I have the most naturally speaking, but one should still not rule that out, okay? Because like I said, it's not black and white. But from a basic perspective, yeah, on a surface level, the strongest influence is an air influence. As you can see here, the Sun, Mercury, and midheaven are in Libra. Okay, and for the rest, I have a notable Earth influence with Mars and Virgo, Neptune, and the ascendant in Earth signs. And for the rest, I've got one in a fire sign, another one in an air sign again, Jupiter and Aquarius. I've got two in fire signs, the Moon and Uranus, and two in water signs. Keep in mind that this is from a basic perspective because the devil lies in the details. Okay, my strongest chart influence is a Scorpio. It's a Scorpio because you should also pay attention to all the other stuff like the houses, not just the signs. Mars and Venus might be in Virgo, but they're in the 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio, which also exerts Scorpio influence. Combine that with Pluto and Saturn being in Scorpio, and notably Pluto being at its strongest in Scorpio, or at the very least one of the strongest signs it can be in, then you can see for yourself where everything comes into play. And Neptune is afflicted, but it's nevertheless still in the house ruled by Pisces. So yeah, I still have a considerable water influence with Scorpio as my strongest influence. But this is not to confuse anyone. I just want to point out the fact that it's not black and white. You need to literally go over the entire chart to make a calculated decision. Literally add all the data together, and then you have an accurate picture. But don't just automatically assume that because, for example, as the report states, the report is a basic report. Okay, it doesn't include all the other data. Just based on the zodiac signs, that's why it says sign elements. It would appear that my strongest influence is an air influence. Okay, what this means in an astrological context and personality-wise are simply stands for depends on the element itself. Usually, people that have a strong air fluence are more brainy. They're intellectuals. They are also refined people in general. They're people that are they're refined people. They're people that are usually easygoing and peace-loving people, which all accounts for my personality. Okay, the fact that I have a strong Libra and Aquarius personality stands for the fact that I'm an intellectual. I'm a thinker. And the very fact that I'm recording this video and who I am as a personality speaks for itself. The water sign stands for emotion. Keyword with water is emotion. Water people are people that have a strong water influence, or people that are emotionally intense, either intense or sensitive. You simply need to think about emotional intensity. These people, if they have a strong Cancer influence, for example, Cancer is known for being sensitive. That's one of the default traits of Cancer, or that Cancer exerts. Then yeah, it's very people are very are strong Cancer people. They that have a strong Cancer influence. I mean, they're very sensitive, very sensitive. Okay, as in tell them to get lost, and it's like you shot them. Um, but yeah, these people are also adaptable because because water signs are water is the most adaptable sign, pretty much. It all fits together. Okay, fire signs are very initiative taking, very cardinal. Water signs are adaptive, so mutable. Air signs are air signs are adaptable and as well as mutable. I mean, fixed as well as mutable. And the most fixed signs are earth signs, most stable of signs. In any case, yeah. In my chart, you can see for yourself with my notable dominant 65 to 70% dominant Scorpio influence. If you accumulate everything, then yeah, it basically foretells of emotional intensity. It says that I'm an emotionally intense person. I am very I can be coercive, even to the point of overbearingness. I'm very driven and whatnot. Especially Pluto states that since it's in the 10th house, in terms of accomplishing goals or career wise, which is all true. Which is all true. Not a smidgen of it, not a small point of it is untrue. So yeah, and like I said, the fire signs, these are good upstarters, good leaders, people that have leadership capability, people that have a lot of energy, and uh, and people that simply have the willpower and drive to get things done are people with fire signs. Okay. I mean, these people are people that are dominated by fire signs. Like as you can tell here, the only signs that I have in fire are Uranus and the moon in Aries. Okay, Aries notably being the strongest of fire signs in terms of cardinality. It's a cardinal fire sign. So just think about people that have a strong Aries and people that have a strong fire influence, regardless of which zodiac sign it is, which fire sign it is. These people are they depending on the rest of the chart. Okay, of course, but from a basic perspective, they have leadership capabilities. They're go-getters. They know how to get things done. They have the willpower to get stuff done, and they also have usually they have the balls to do dirty work. Just think of someone that, people that usually do work that doesn't, that very few people want to do. Think of things like military recruitment or anything along the lines, law enforcement, you name it. People that simply have the metaphorical balls and the courage to commit to high risk kind of employment, or to simply do things that involve high risk. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I also need to point out as a drawback, these people are. I need to point out as a drawback that these people are unrefined. They're raw kind of people. Fire people are raw people. They're unrefined. They are. They can be overly aggressive, and they can be thereby unappealing in nature. Okay, that's the drawback. And usually these are not physically attractive people. Yeah, since I'm on that point, I'm also going to discuss the drawbacks of the signs I already discussed briefly just now. Air signs, for example, The drawbacks of air signs are the fact that they lack the willpower usually. They might be peaceful and harmonious and refined and very sophisticated and intellectual, but they lack the willpower. Simply speak, they lack the natural energy, spiritual energy to commit to tasks, especially high risk tasks, which is normal. Since they're peace loving, usually they'll avoid, people like these will avoid conflict. They're not good, even if they do not avoid conflict, they're not the best at dealing with conflict. Those are the weaknesses of air signs. The weaknesses of water signs are, generally speaking, like I said, being excessively emotional, or quite the opposite, lacking emotion, being or negative emotion. Let's just say fatalistic attitude, coldness. That applies to me. Okay, with my strong Scorpio influence, okay, the drawback of this specific water sign is coldness. The appearance to not give a fuck, bluntly put, to not care, to simply not, to simply to seem void of sympathy, you name it, to be apathetic almost. And like I said already, to be overbearing and coercive. These are not positive traits, okay? It depends on the context, but usually these are not considered positive character traits. And let's see, what else was left? Last but not least, the earth signs, yeah. The earth signs, the benefit of earth signs in general, okay, as an element or from an elemental perspective, are that earth signs, earth people, if you so to speak, are very down to earth, they're hardworking, they're simplistic, they are not dreamers or anything like that. They're very realistic people that usually take things as they come. They have an idiotic saying, idiotic in my opinion, you gotta take life as it is. That pretty much embodies simplicity and how down to earth they are. These are usually just run of the mill people, and they are usually followers, not leaders. Okay, from a basic perspective, they're followers, not leaders. They just, so to speak, do their job. They do what they need to be. They do what they need to do to get by in life, and that's all. Um, in my chart, the strongest I have is Virgo. I have two in Virgo, Mars in Venus, Neptune in Capricorn, and Lilith in Taurus. So yeah, I have little to no earth signs in my thingy. I mean, compared to the rest of the chart, then yeah, it still weighs a decent, considerable amount, but still. Like I said, those are the benefits. The drawback of an earth personality, someone that has a strong earth personality, are usually people that they won't accomplish much in their life. Like I said, these are run-of-the-mill people. They're followers, not leaders. The benefits are that they're hardworking, but the drawback is that they can work themselves to death sometimes. They can work too hard, literally too hard, to the point of overworking themselves. They can have physical health issues. Uh, yeah, they can have physical health issues, and yeah, that's pretty much it. They're very simplistic. These are not people that are intellectually gifted or anything like that. These are literally people that are primitive almost to the point where you can almost, I keep in mind I'm saying almost, to the point where you can compare them to animals. Just think of a cow just pulling a plow. This might be a blunt and crude example, but I can't think of another one. Just think of a cow that needs to pull a thingy, needs to pull a plow. That cow literally just does what he needs to do. He grazes, he does his job in order to get by, he pulls that plow, and that's for the rest of it. The cow doesn't really have a care in the world. The cow doesn't have any other traits going for it. Those are the marks of an earth person, of someone that has a strong earth influence. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I've treated the sign modalities, the sign elements, and yeah, now the house modalities. Okay, the cardinal houses are called angular houses. The fixed houses, succeedant, and the mutable or mutative houses or adaptable houses, the cadent houses. Um, Someone that has a strong angular influence, so someone that has a lot of influence in angular houses, for example, in tiny houses, um, planets, or that was born in the constellation that involves planets, a lot of planets in angular houses. So the first, the fourth, the seventh, or the tenth. As you can see here, Jupiter, Pluto, For a fortune and Lilith are in these houses. Let me see if I missed anything. No, Jupiter, Pluto, yeah, for a fortune and Lilith stands for the fact that it stands for the fact that usually people that have a strong angular influence are people that will make it big, not necessarily becoming rich and famous, but becoming renowned. Okay, in terms of a world leader, someone that will be known in the mainstream on the mainstream front or on the mainstream scene, someone like that, someone of such a nature, or it's someone that will be a good leader in his or her life and whatnot. Okay, based on all the other information I treated in this video or I discussed, it's obvious. Okay, so yeah, you can compare these houses, angular houses, you can simply compare them to cardinal houses, or you can associate them with cardinal signs. There are people that have leadership capability, etc., and whatnot. Okay, um, based on my placements, you can see that I have a more than significant level of cardinal influence. Especially part of fortune is there. You name it. Pluto is nice and strong there. Jupiter is also decent, more than decent in Aquarius. See there, it just goes on and on and on. Okay. Um, so yeah, angular houses. Also the fact that the ascendant and midheaven, okay, they rule angular houses, and as you can see here for yourself, okay, Capricorn rules the first angular house, and the fourth angular house, so the 10th house is ruled by Libra, as I already discussed. So you can see that there's more of a significant influence. This simply stands for the fact that I have combined with or in conjunction with everything else in the chart. I have a good deal of leadership capabilities and whatnot, and prominence is present for a decent amount. Succeedant, you can associate that with fixed signs. Okay, succeedant houses are houses that radiate fixation or stability. Okay, as you can see, weight score is 6. Okay, I have Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Uranus and Chiron in fixed houses. And yes, that's true. That's all correct. Uh, this does not mean that I'm stable. Don't get those confused, okay? These planets might be there in these houses. You've got this here, this here, this here. It just goes on. But that does not mean automatically that I'm fixed. Like I said, it's not a black and white matter. You need to look at the entire chart. So in terms of fixation, it simply says that I have a minor level of fixation, but nothing more than that point. Nothing beyond that. And last but not least, cadent. I have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, and Neptune in cadent houses. The ninth, the 12th, the third house, and the sixth house. But I have nothing in the sixth house. So yeah, it's just these 4 planets. Just these 4 planets. Yeah, the just these 4 planets. The third, the ninth, the 12th. Sixth is empty. The cadent houses are houses that basically state that someone, you can compare those houses to mutable signs. It simply says that these houses have, how should I put it? These houses have a level of proficiency, not in terms of adaptability. Ignore my ringtone. In terms of, not in terms of adaptability, but in terms of, not in terms of adaptability, but in terms of passing by unnoticed. Okay, all of my influence is arguably the strongest influence because it's the only place, it's the only aspect here. Sorry, almost got sidetracked. It's the strongest planets that I have, or the most noteworthy planets, are in cadent houses. That's why it has a weight score of 9. Succeedant was decent, but that's it. Okay, the Mars, Venus, Saturn, and Uranus. But I have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, and Neptune, all notable planets. So it weighs a bit more than Succeedant. That's why it has a total weight score of 9. And yeah, what that means in this context is simply that I, on a global level, will go by unnoticed, which is normal. I'm an occultist, so I'm not mainstream. Despite my cardinal and radiant personality and my leadership capabilities, etc., etc., On a global level, I'll go by unnoticed. Okay, metaphorically speaking, I'm not, so to speak, Michael Jackson, that I'll be known around the globe and whatnot by the average person on the street. Of course not, because the average person doesn't have an interest in esoterica and occultism, statistically speaking. That's why. That's why my strongest, based from a basic perspective, okay, my strongest modality, house modality, is a cadent modality. Okay, that means that I have a thingy personality. That means that I have a personality that is of such a nature that I will, on a global level, go by unnoticed, which I do not have an issue with, of course. I don't, I don't really care about that. Okay, I don't care about being well known to the mainstream media or anything like that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care about that. But that's what it simply hints. Naturally speaking, keep in mind that these things are prone to change, of course, due to exterior influences, especially in my case, due to occult influences. Like, that's why I also mentioned that I've been able to vastly improve on my personality, which is visible to people that are either closely observant or people close to me. But this chart simply indicates the basics of astrology in terms of the hand that I was dealt, or the qualities that I was given upon birth, my natural qualities and characteristics. So by nature, from a basic perspective, I will, or I should go by unnoticed in life. My personality is of such a nature that despite everything else, my natural leadership capabilities in the occult and esoterica and metaphysicality or metaphysics, that I will go by, or I shall go by unnoticed, largely unnoticed to the public eye on a global statistical level. All of which is true. So yeah, there you have it. That is it. Okay. Those are all the modalities, the sign modalities in terms of zodiac signs, cardinal signs, fixed and mutable signs, the signs relating to elemental influences, and house modalities. There you have it. So yeah, all of this helps shape a clear picture of who I am. Okay, so if you were to look at the chart based on everything I discussed, you'd say that, if you wouldn't know me based on my chart, you'd say that I'm a thinker, strong Libra influence, Aquarius thing. I'm an intellectual. I have an intellectual side, a considerable intellectual side, and it sticks out the most. So yeah, my dominant side, naturally speaking, is intellectual. I'm someone that cares about intellectual pursuits. It also says that I am emotionally intense based on a strong Scorpio influence. It also says that I can be down to earth based on the earth influence, the Virgo and the Capricorn and whatnot. Um, the moon in Aries also contributes to emotional intensity and temper flare ups. And and yeah, last but not least, that's it pretty much. Based on all the other stuff, you'd say that, yeah, I have a cardinal personality. I'm good at getting things going. I'm a strong upstarter, but I lack stability and whatnot, etc., etc. Again, all the little bits help. Okay, like I said, the devil lies in the details, especially when it comes to metaphysics and the occult. The devil really lies in the details. You can't just look at one thing. You need to look at everything, the entire picture. Every tiny little speck of information matters. And only once you put all of that information together will you get an accurate, one that's completely and utterly 100% accurate image of one's personality and what someone is like and all the other factors involved. But yeah, that's what this stands for. This isn't something that weighs heavily, okay? This isn't something that I would personally recommend that you necessarily have to look after. No. I would just, if someone asked me, if someone on the street were to ask me, I'd simply tell that person, listen, planets are important, okay? Focus on the 10 planets that you know, the zodiac signs they're in, the houses they're in, and that's it. But like I said, the devil lies in the details. As a perfectionist, an ultra perfectionist, even if I say so myself, yeah, you need to look at everything. Okay, and what comes into play if you're an ultra perfectionist are the degrees that all the signs are in, the midheaven and the ascendant is in, retrogrades, whether signs are afflicted, all the aspects, whether they're positive or negative aspects that you can see here, all the aspects, relationship they have to a planet, and then you can also look at the report in terms of what I just discussed, the modalities and everything. all of those things, and I repeat, all of those things contribute. That was it for modalities in any case. See you later.